Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Epic Learning Skills. Today we are going to cover our remaining topics of chapter Introduction to Computer and Programming. In the previous video we had discussed what is program, computer systems, hardware and software. Today in this video we are going to cover our remaining topics, program and programming languages, what is program made of, input processing and output, the programming process. So let's start with our first topic, programs and programming languages. A programming language is a special language that is used to write computer programs. Computers are designed to follow instructions. A computer program is a set of instructions that tell the computer how to solve a problem or perform a task. For example, suppose we want the computer to calculate someone's gross pay. So the list of things the computer might do. Firstly, it will display a message on the screen asking how many hours did you work. Then it will wait for the user to enter the number of hours worked. Once the user had input the number, it will store it in a memory. Then it will display a message on the screen asking how much do you get paid per hour. It will again wait for the user to enter an hourly pay rate. Once the user enter a number, and it will again store it in a memory. Then it will multiply the number of hours by the amount paid per hour, and it will store the final result in another memory location. Then it will display a message on the screen that tells the amount of money earned. The message must include the result of the calculation that is performed in the step number 5. Collectively, these instructions are called an algorithm. An algorithm is a set of well-defined steps for performing a task or solving a problem. Notice the steps are ordered sequentially. Step 1 should be performed before step 2, and so forth. It is important that these instructions be performed in their proper sequence. Although a person might easily understand the instructions in the pay calculating algorithm, it is not ready to be executed on the computer. A computer's CPU can only process instructions that are written in machine language. A machine language program consists of a sequence of binary numbers consisting of zeros and ones, which the CPU interprets as commands. Here is an example of what a machine language instructions might look like. As you can imagine, the process of encoding an algorithm in machine language is very difficult. In addition, each different type of CPU has its own machine language. If you wrote a machine language program for computer A and then want to run it on a computer B that has a different type of CPU, you would have to rewrite the program in computer B machine language. Now we will discuss the programming languages. In a broad sense, there are two categories of programming languages, low level and high level. A low level language is close to the level of computer, which means it resembles the numeric machine language of computer more than the natural language of humans. The easiest languages for people to learn are high level languages. They are called high level because they are closer to the level of human readability than computer readability. C++ is widely used language because in addition to the high level features necessary for writing applications such as payroll system and inventory programs, it also has many low level features. C++ is based on the C language, which was invented for the purpose such as writing operating systems and compilers. Because C++ evolved from C, it carries all of the C's low level capabilities with it. C++ is also popular because of its portability. This means that a C++ program can be written on one type of computer and then run on many other types of systems. This usually requires that the program is recompiled on each type of system, but the program itself may need little or no change. So some of the well-known high-level programming languages are as under. But the language that we are going to cover in this course is C++. So what is source code, object code and executable code? When a C++ program is written, it must be typed into the computer and saved to a file. A text editor, which is similar to the word processing program, is used for this task. The statements written by the programmers are called the source code, and the file they are saved in is called the source file. After the source code is saved to a file, the process of translating it to the machine language can begin. During the first phase of this process, a program called the preprocessor reads the source code. The preprocessor searches for the special lines that begin with the hash symbol. These lines contain commands or directives that cause the preprocessor to amend or process the source code in some way. During the next phase, the compiler steps through the preprocessed source code, translating each source code instruction into the appropriate machine language instructions. This process will uncover any syntax error that may be in the program. Syntax errors are illegal use of keywords, operators, punctuations, and other language elements. If the program is free of syntax error, the compilers store the translated machine language instructions, which are called object code, in an object file. Although an object file contains machine language instruction, it is not a complete program. Here is why C++ equipped with the library of pre-written code for performing common operations or sometimes difficult tasks. For example, the library contains the hardware-specific code for displaying messages on the screen and reading input from the keyboard. It also provides routines for mathematical functions such as calculating the square root of a number. This collection of code, called the runtime library, is extensive. Programs always use some part of it. When the compiler generates an object file, however, it does not include machine code for any runtime library routines the programmers might have used. During the last phase of the translation process, another program called the linker combines the object file with the necessary library routines. Once the linker has finished with the step, an executable file is created. The executable file contains the machine language instructions or executable code and is ready to run on the computer. In this figure, the process of translating a C++ source file into the executable file. The entire process of invoking the preprocessor, compiler, and linker can be initiated with a single action. For example, a Linux system. The following command causes the C++ program named hello.cpp to be preprocessed, compiled, and linked. The executable code is stored in a file named hello. So our next topic is, what is program made of? There are certain elements that are common to all programming languages. These are language elements, lines and statements, and variables. So first is language element. So language element consists of keywords, words that have a special meaning. Keywords may only be used for their intended purpose. Keywords are also known as reserved words. Programmer-defined identifiers. Words are names defined by the programmer. They are the symbolic names that refer to variable or programming routines. Operators. Operators perform operation on one or more operand. An operand is usually a piece of data like a number. Punctuation. Punctuation characters that mark the beginning or ending of a statement or separate item in a list. Syntax. Rules that must be followed when constructing a program. Syntax dictates that how keywords and operators may be used and where the punctuation symbol must appear. So here on the screen is the program that calculates the user's pay. 3 of C++ keywords appear on line 3 and 5 using namespace and int. The word double, which appear on line 7, is also a C++ keyword. These words, which are always written in lowercase, each have a special meaning in C++ and can only be used for their intended purpose. As you will see, the programmer is allowed to make up his or her own names for certain things in a program. Keywords, however, are reserved and cannot be used for anything other than their designated purpose. Part of learning a programming language is learning what the keywords are, what they mean, and how to use them. The words or, rate, and pay that appear in the program on lines 7, 11, 15, 18, and 21 are programmer-defined identifiers. They are not part of C++ language, but rather are names made up by the programmer. In this particular program, they are the names of variables. As you will learn later in this chapter, variables are the name of memory location that may hold data. On line 18, the following statement appears. Pay is equal to ORS multiplied by rate. The equal and multiplication symbols are both operators. They perform operation on pieces of data known as operand. The multiplication operator multiplies its two operand, which in this example are the variable ORS and rate. The equal symbol is called the assignment operator. It takes the value of the expression on the right and stores it in the variable whose names appear on the left. In this example, the equal operator stores in the pay variable the result of the ORS variable multiplied by the rate variable. In the other words, the statement says make the pay variable equal to ORS times rate, or the pay is assigned the value of OR times rate. Notice that many lines end with the semicolon. A semicolon in C++ is similar to a period in English. It marks the end of a complete sentence. Semicolons do not appear at the end of every line in C++ program. Note that the hash include iostream statement in the line 2 is a preprocessor directive. In C++, keywords are written in all lowercase. So next comes lines and statements. Often the content of a program are thought of in terms of lines and statements. A line is just that, a single line as it appears in the body of program. User pay program shown with each of its line numbered. Most of the lines contain something meaningful. However, some of the lines are empty. The blank lines are only there to make the program more readable. A statement is a complete instruction that causes the computer to perform some action. Here is the statement that appears in the line 10 of program. How many hours did you work? It causes the computer to display the message how many hours did you work on the screen. Statements can be a combination of keywords, operators, programmer-defined symbols. Statements usually occupy only one line in a program, but sometimes they are spread over more than one line. So next is variable. A variable is a named storage location in the computer's memory for holding a piece of data. The data stored in variables may change while the program is running. Notice that in user pay program, the words hours, rate, and pay appear in several places. All three of these are the names of variables. The hours variable is used to store the number of hours the user worked. The rate variable stores the user's hourly pay rate. The pay variables hold the result of hours multiplied by rate, which is the user's gross pay. After the variable comes variable definitions. In programming, there are two general types of data: numbers such as 3, 4, 5, 6, and characters such as the letter A, C, I, and N. Numbers are used to perform mathematical operations, and characters are used to print information on the screen or on paper. Numeric data can be characterized into whole number and integers. The following are examples of whole numbers or integers. Similarly, numbers can be real or floating point numbers. Following are examples of real or floating point numbers. When creating a variable in a C++ program, you must know what type of data the program will be storing in it. For example, in the user's pay program, the word double in the statement indicates that the variable hours, rate, pay will be used to hold double precision floating point numbers. This statement is called a variable definition. In C++, all variables must be defined before they can be used, because the variable definition is what causes the variable to be created in memory. If you review the listing of user's pay program, you will see that the variable definition comes before any other statement using those variables. So our next topic is input, processing and output. The three primary activities of program are input, processing and output. Computer programs typically perform a three-step process of gathering input, performing some process on the information gathered and then producing output. Input is the information a program collects from the outside world. It can be sent to the program by the user who is entering data at the keyboard or using the mouse. It can also be read from the disk files or hardware devices connected to computer. User's pay program allows the user to enter two items of information, the number of hours worked and the hourly pay rate. Lines 11 and 15 uses the cin object to perform these input operations. For example, cin hours, cin rate. Once information is gathered from the outside world, a program usually processes it in some manner. For example, in this program, the hours worked and the hourly pay rate are multiplied in line 18 to produce the value assigned to variable pay. For example, pay is equal to hours multiplied by rate. Output is information that a program sends to outside world. It can be words or graphics displayed on a screen, or a report sent to printer, data stored in a file, or information sent to any device connected to computer. Line 10, 14, 21 in this program all uses the cout object to display the messages on the computer screen. You will learn more about the cin and cout object in the link given in the description below. So the last topic of this chapter is the programming process. The programming process consists of several steps, which include design, creation, testing and debugging activities. Now that you have been introduced to what a program is, it's time to consider the process of creating a program. Quite often, when inexperienced students are given programming assignments, they have trouble getting started because they do not know what to do first. If you find yourself in this dilemma, the steps listed in this figure may help. These are the steps recommended for the process of writing a program. The steps listed in this figure emphasize the importance of planning. Just as there are good ways and bad ways to paint a house, there are good ways and bad ways to create a program. A good program always begins with planning. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any confusion, do write in comment section below or email me.